biggest effect on our lives by 2016 will be near-field communication. So this, for anyone that doesn't know, is when you hold your phone next to something and it recognizes your phone. So it can be used for payments and other things. Google launched a Google Wallet in May this year. They're not just interested in payments. Google are interested in using it for more than that. They're actually launching, as a trial actually in Portland in the US, a thing called hot potting, which allows you to put posters in cafes and restaurants, bars, and people can check in just by holding their phone up to the NFC-enabled poster. And I think this really represents the future of NFC, where it starts to link together our virtual and our real worlds. And this kind of checking in will be helped along, I suppose, by a generation with slightly lower levels of privacy anxiety, but also with a sense of what's the value in their data. So this sense of movement towards privacy trading, where people actually get tailored experiences, offers, even free Wi-Fi in order for basically checking in certain areas. All these different technologies are naturally going to make our devices incredibly power hungry. And technology will only just about keep up. Some of the battery technologies are really not as far ahead as some of the device technologies. By 2016, we're hoping that lithium-sulfur batteries will emerge and give us up to 400% greater battery power. But we will have this, and that is what's called e-coupling. E-coupling allows us to project battery charge across air, so it doesn't actually require any wires at all. This was launched, this is called PowerMat. It was launched at the Mobile World Congress in February this year. And they're rolling them out within aircrafts, airports and certain shops. By 2016, as the technology improves, we'll start to be able to broadcast the battery over a wider area. So expect to be sitting not in Wi-Fi cafes, but WiPo cafes that actually have wireless power and can beam power straight to your devices. That's very much on the horizon. What about the internet? Well, HTML5 will be very important and will change a lot of things. It will mean internet experience will become a bit like using an app. But what's really interesting about the internet is the socialization of the web. So Facebook's boundaries don't stop at Facebook. Because of the open graph, they've now infected 2 million websites now. So these websites have been infected because they've actually uploaded the Facebook like button or connect. And that's telling Facebook a lot about what we like about the world. But what it also does is it allows the websites to tailor the experience for us. If you go to tripadvisor.com right now, you'll see that your social graph will change the environment, change the website. So it'll tell you where all your friends have been on holiday. And that's an example of where it will go. The web will be very much tailored for us based on our social graphs. It'll be a very, very rich experience. Search will change. We'll move from links to likes. The focus on search has been about linking, how things are linked together. But with Google +1, which is similar to Facebook's Open Graph, we'll be using the information about what people like in order to inform the algorithm. And there's also a thing called block. So Google had this thing called block. You can block websites you don't like from any advertisers. And again, that will also be used in order to inform the algorithm. And we'll get better at organizing the web. Google, Bing, and Yahoo have come together and created a group called Schema that is a new way of getting content developers to encode their websites in a way that we can understand them much more clearly and therefore access the information more intuitively. Search is also including vertical search. So Google have been buying some vertical search engines like Beat My Quote that allow them to start to serve up answers to questions in the first response. So when you type in your question into Google, what you want, you get the response there and then. You don't have to go through to any links. And that will mean search will start to become more intuitive. And it will also mean we can start asking questions of search. By 2016, these are sort of questions that you'll better start asking, and it will start to compute the answer as opposed to relying on you to go through different links in order to find out the information. So who plays in golf at LA Galaxy, or what black suits on sale at Zara? This is the sort of thing that search engines will start to be able to deliver within 5 years. Beyond 5 years, it will start to get even more nuanced, and we'll have near AI, artificial intelligence. So, you'll better ask questions, is the stimulus package working? It will understand the semantic meaning of your question and be able to connect the information together and put it back and give it back to you in a way that answers it. Commerce is going to be changed massively. By 2016, we really will see a lot of websites will have broken themselves into bits and be embedded into many different social environments. 76% of retailers plan to use Facebook for social commerce, so it's going to be a really, really important area. And you'll see people group buying in a similar way to what they've done at the moment. But you also see other really interesting areas of collaboration appear. there's a really interesting concept at the moment that's got this kind of word, it's called gamification. Gamification is where you use game mechanics, techniques that gamers use in order to motivate people to collaborate together. It's a really interesting concept. It's being used already in certain areas. So in the US, they wanted to work out where all the defibrillators are across the whole of the US. Tremendous amount of work to work out where they are, take photographs of them, and link them to a map to geotag them. So instead, they just gamed it. So they turned the whole thing into a game, and they mapped out almost all of the defibrillators within a matter of a few weeks. If you use games, you unleash rampant motivation and rampant engagement. The UK, similar example, The Guardian newspaper wanted to trawl through lots of MPs' expenses. There were hundreds upon hundreds of thousands of expenses, and they were hard to decipher. So instead, they turned the whole thing into a game. It was done within a matter of a few weeks. So gamification is a word it's an ugly word, but it's a word you might hear more of over the next few months and the next few years as a way of plugging the human brain into technology and unleashing rampant engagement. So try and bring together this sense of an unleashed engagement through gamification. Think about this tremendous level of intelligence that the internet will start to serve up to us. Think of these amazing devices that we'll be accessing the information with, and think of this infrastructure that we'll have of high-speed connectivity and the cloud. And you get close to starting to work out what society 2016 will be like. So I'm now going to try and describe what that society might look like based on what we've just been through. So 2016, everyone will have a smart device. We will speak naturally into our devices, book restaurants, flights, and answer questions. And it will actually turn us into a bit like CEOs, all due respect to the CEOs here. You know, sort of like we'll be a bit mindless. We'll be, won't better sort of, find ourselves. We'll sort of get lost, and we'll rely on our PA, our device, to help us out. And it's been termed real-time living. So we won't prepare. We'll just turn up knowing that our device will be there to answer the questions and solve it for us.
So for me, what's going to change this industry more than anything in the next 5 years is the move to just-in-time living. Think how SatNav has changed the way you visit a distant relative. Before, you might have had to buy a map, plan a route. Now you just punch in a postcode and off you go. And as mobile spreads and smartphones become more pervasive, we're seeing consumers empowered to make all sorts of decisions right there in the moment. And as an industry, that means that we have to shift too. We have to shift from big, set-piece, pre-planned activity to meeting consumers where they are, in the now.
The other thing that you will probably notice in society 2016 will be that everyone will be tapping devices to make payments and check in. It will just be natural. You'll just see people going beep, beep. It will just be part of the way the world will look. And that will probably be the second most differentiated thing from today. The most differentiated thing will be that people will be looking through their devices more. This looking glass is what the smartphone will become. We'll just get used to looking through them and seeing the internet embedded in our environment. If you're looking at buildings and just seeing what that building is about, looking at shops, but also for purchases as well. Everything will be internet enabled, and almost half the time we spend in the waking world will be using devices in some way like that. So in a sense, the internet, for us, will be smeared across the world around us.
One of the most dynamic areas of development in advertising is the fusion of creativity and technology. The digital space and physical environment are being brought together in a single, seamless experience. And it's not just traditional media, but entire cityscapes that will soon have the internet smeared across it, like a canvas over the world. Now that creates new, interesting opportunities for agencies and advertisers to create content, buy media, and engage users. And that's exciting stuff.
We will probably look back on 2011 and just wonder how we made purchases so easy. By 2016, it's quite likely our devices will be put in front of products and seeing any user reviews on those products and obviously price details. And that would just be something that will be very common. Brand sentiment tracking, which is something I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with, is pretty much used within this environment, within marketing agencies and with clients. But brand sentiment will actually break the boundaries of our business and be used by consumers. They'll be using devices to see which products they should be buying, and it's just become natural and a part of the way that they work. So people will make purchases with user reviews and even brand sentiment. Also, youth audiences will start to use the devices for facial pattern recognition. So Facebook already have actually quietly launched their face recognition technology. By 2016, it's very likely that certain individuals that have allowed themselves that have opted in, only those that will opt in, will allow themselves to be seen by other people. Put a phone in front of their face, you instantly can see internet information about them straight from their social graph. And I think this will be a higher thing amongst younger audiences that are more relaxed about privacy. And also see the benefits in sharing their information. Every time you AR something, or every time you check in, every time wherever you are, all those data points will be fed into your social networks. We'll look back on a time when we used to have a status update as being quaint. By 2016, all the different data points that surround your life will be embedded together in some sort of dashboard. So you'll be able to sit with a dashboard and see where all of your friends are. Probably won't be your whole social network, but the people that you feel close to. Better see where they are live and see icons representing what they are doing at that given time, including data about who they're with and what they've just bought. That sense of real deep connection to people, never being away from them, will basically what you will have, or what some people will have access to. Not everyone will want it, but it will certainly be available and will be very attractive for some groups of individuals. For some individuals, they will have access to that kind of level of dashboard through incredible screens in their homes, Ultra HD OLED screens. But again, few people will actually be able to afford that truly. Most people will simply be just using OLED connected TVs, but still TVs are way more powerful than what we have today. And they will make TV viewing social. A lot of TV viewing will be social, not just the major TV events, but whatever you're watching through the day. You end up seeing who in your social network is actually consuming and watching this with you right now. TV ads will typically increasingly become tailored. But linear viewing will prevail. It will just be that the ad break starts to be IP-served content. Viewers will tap into content to access embedded information behind anything. The hotel, the suit, whatever they want to find out more about. They'll find out more just by tapping. Everything will be embedded with extra layers of information. And it will allow them to instantly link it to the social network. You know, click, up, link to the social network, and people will know exactly what you're looking at and what you've seen and what you like. And of course, to be able to buy there and then. Social TV, socialization TV, will lead to some amazing opportunities. Brands with small budgets, if they do it right, have access. There's literally a direct pipe from any TV campaign straight to the social network. The power will be phenomenal, but it will also lead to grave threats as well. Brands will face the possibility of social contagion with every new campaign because the fluidity, getting negative comment out of your ads straight into a network, there'll be no disconnection. So it will be a time of anxiety, but also a massive opportunity. And us as individuals will also be part of networks. And over time, the networks will become much, much, much more powerful, certainly as we spend more time accessing social media through mobile phones. So how do we cope with that? How does a media agency cope with that, 2016? Well,